All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the I Can Do This All Day podcast. I am Dan, the part-time Avenger. That is Mark, the resident Jedi.
Hello there. Today we're here to talk about villains. Villains that we think are the best portrayed on TV. The actors who have done the best job playing superhero villains out there in the cinematic world.
Yep, we're talking about villains today, and why not? Because when it comes to heroes, yes, we can talk about them, we can admire them, but you know what? There are some villains out there that are pretty darn cool, and I think they deserve their spotlight because you know what? In a world of real life villains that are out there, whether it's patrolling streets trying to secure freedoms or other stuff, yeah, let's just talk about those fictional villains that still bring entertainment, but goddamn great acting ability. Mark, are there any honorable mentions or even some of the prerequisites as to what it took to make it to your Mount Rushmore of villain actors?
For me, this Mount Rushmore is those that represented and stood out. The one thing that you'll see about villains a lot in these movies is you don't get a lot of A-tier actors necessarily. And they don't repeat. They don't hold a role. They're not Robert Downey Jr. or Hugh Jackman doing it for 20 years. You know, they do a movie, they get defeated, they're out. And I feel that we've gotten more versions of the same villain than maybe we've gotten of the same hero, aside from Batman, right? But I feel like
Yeah.
they're replaced more often. So there's very few that have just carried the same villainous role through multiple films, which makes it hard. So then you look at individual performances like Heath Ledger as the Joker, very hyped, not by me, but very hyped, honorable mention. You can go to any of those classic superhero villains like a Gene Hackman in Superman. Kind of campy, not really menacing, but held the movie. Honorable mention. You know, so I think there's a lot of space for that, but they don't stick out. And you've also got those villains that turn into heroes. Like we've done a heroes version of this. Where does Tom Hiddleston belong? Is he a villain? Is he a hero? We don't know. But it's not easy being green, so honorable mention. What about you, Dan?
I've got a few honorable mentions. Like the first one was super glaring to me, and it was Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. He has some other great movies, Fruitvale Station. I thought I can't remember what the like the Rainbow Six prequel was that he was in on Prime, but that was really good. He did a fantastic job. He was really good in the Creed movies, but body of work not as large as some of the other actors that I have on my Rushmore. So that's one of them. But one of the other ones was going to be Liev Schreiber's Sabretooth, because that guy can freaking act. He has a whole bunch of TV shows that he's acted really well on. Ray Donovan, that one where he was like a stoner with Nicole Kidman and his wife. I can't remember the name of that one, but I watched every episode of that, and I thought he killed it in that role. But he's just a really strong actor, but just not quite to the same caliber and level as some of these other people. But that's pretty much it. Those were like the two glaring omissions from my Mount Rushmore.
Lee Schreiber, great call out. The voice of Hard Knocks as well, super versatile. And I felt the same way. Like, I'm like, oh, I loved to see Sabretooth going back and forth with Wolverine in these, and they kept the same actor. And he was one of the bright spots in the first introduction of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. But yeah, not Rushmore worthy, but he can have a bronze statue somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. But the honorable mentions, my prerequisite, I think I mentioned this before, but it was just the overall body of work for these actors who portrayed these villains. And that's what I went by. But to no further ado, let's go into this list of our Mount Rushmores. First one up is going to be your pick, Ian McKellen as Magneto.
I mean, thou shalt not pass a villain's superhero list without talking about Ian McKellen and this role as Magneto. They dug directly into the Holocaust survivor narrative, and there couldn't be somebody more cold and calculating, and classically trained than Ian McKellen. Um, so much so that you had to go get Fassbender to do it the next time, and he wasn't like he was Fassbender, but he wasn't as good. You know, forever my Magneto, Sir Ian McKellen.
Fair enough, and I did enjoy him as Magneto. I thought he was a little too old for the role, but still played it menacing and still was able to play it as a bona fide threat on screen. So yeah, Ian McKellen. But funny that you mentioned that. So my pick, yep, Michael Fassbender as
Ooh,
Magneto,
polar
because I
opposites
just
we are.
thought, yes, the hypocrisy is strong because as much as I like Ian McKellen, I just don't think he holds a candle to Michael Fassbender from an acting perspective. But that's just maybe it's my opinion. He has a longer career, but at the same time, I just think Fassbender is so damn powerful and commanding on the screen. And he has played different roles. You know, you have him as kind of like the I don't even know if he's necessarily the biggest villain as Magneto in the X-Men movies that he was in. I think he was more of like an anti-hero because Fassbender is so likable and he had that portrayal of like, oh yeah, he was in those Nazi death camps, but at the same time, he had his revenge on those people and was 100% fine. Like that scene in X-Men First Class where he travels. You think he was in The Sound of Music. It travels to the hills. I think they were in Spain, maybe. But he goes to travel there, finds a couple of the security guards or soldiers that were at his Nazi camp, and of course, just brutalizes them. But he does it in style while drinking a glass of beer, and that's what I really love about his work as Magneto. But outside of Magneto, so many awesome roles. Eden Lake is one of my favorite. I can't say it's necessarily a horror movie, but it's definitely like a thriller type of movie.
Deep cut.
I really enjoy that movie and his portrayal. It's just one of those dark movies that I like me some downer endings, and that is definitely a downer ending. In case you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, but I won't tell you exactly what happens. But yeah, Michael Fassbender, Magneto, fantastic library of work, and yeah, on my Mount Rushmore. But going on to the next pick, one of mine, he happened to be on one of my other Mount Rushmores, so we talk about him a lot, but it's Christian Bale as Gore the Butcher, the big bad in Thor Love and Thunder, but unfortunately that movie got panned and they kind of wasted his talents, but at least that's what a lot of people say. I semi agree to that, but at the same time, this guy is just such a damn good actor. Once again, loved him in American Psycho, loved him in The Fighter, loved him in so many other things, including the Batman trilogy. It's just like, hey, here he is as a villain, and he was menacing, but at the same time, he did it for love. So he has a talent to kind of spin it right back around. But who can forget his just haunting performance in The Machinist? It's just a really great actor, and that's why he is on my Mount Rushmore.
I have a real question for you about your comment on Thor: Love and Thunder. Do you think that somehow the Russos are going to do it again and take a Thor movie that everybody pishawed, and just because they released another movie and reference it, going to make it better?
Um, I don't think they necessarily can make it better because I don't think there's really going to be any time travel to kind of retcon that stuff. Um, but what I can say is that it is somewhat related to Thor: Love and Thunder because uh, Love is back in Doomsday, if I'm not mistaken. So there are some tiebacks to it. I just don't know if there's going to be any Gore the Butcher tiebacks.
I'm not even Gore the Butcher, just can they make that movie better simply by associating an amazing movie with it? Because that's what happened to Thor: The Dark World.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. You know what though? I still enjoyed Thor: The Dark World. Like I didn't really understand the hate other than the fact that, like, yeah, if you're going to nitpick some of the realistic aspects of this movie, and yeah, you had the chemistry thing with Natalie Portman and her not even showing up for that kiss scene with Hemsworth, which Elsa Pataki did. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really concern myself too much about the negative stuff about the movies unless I feel like the movie sucks. And I don't think the movie sucks. So yeah, I still stand by my statement of if Thor: Love and Thunder came out before Thor: Ragnarok, we'd be talking about how great that movie was. And Thor: Ragnarok would be like, they're really playing it more jokey this time. Like, I think it was just too much jokiness. And yes, there was a lot of silliness, and the Ragnarok's great. I love it. I'm just saying, if we saw Ragnarok second, we wouldn't think it was as special as it was if we saw it first. That's all. And I think that's what Love and Thunder was victim of. There was victim of, a lot of other things to it, but I didn't think it was so detrimental to the overall movie. I had a good time. I think we both said we can do it all day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But going on to the next Mount Rushmore spot. Whew.
I know.
Kevin Spacey.
Not only a creepy villain, but just a creepy dude in general. Kevin Spacey, to me, has been the best representation of Lex Luthor. And a character that has been cast a million times. Spacey had the chops to do it then and the creepy to do it now. Like, just my favorite Lex Luthor in a Superman movie that, all in all, is not that great. Right? Superman Returns, meh. But
I still had a good
Superman
time with
Returns. Oh, it was still good. It's anytime you can get a decent Superman movie out there, like, let's go. Right? Brandon Roth was great in it. But it still wasn't as epic as some of the other Superman movies we have. I mean, you compare it to Superman 3, it's The Godfather. But you come to an actor who plays a villain amazing, right? Tyler Sosa himself. And then
wait, who? Say that again. Who? Tyler.
What?
Tyler who?
Kyler. Is it Kyler Sosa?
Kyler.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna roll with that. Yeah, that's who it is. Kyler Sosa. Kyler Sosa.
Sosa. Whatever. Well, from the Usual Suspects to this.
Kaiser Sosa.
Kaiser. There we go.
So that
Kaiser.
way. Tyler
matter.
Kyler. Did you say Pam or Pan?
Listen, I'm limping through this. All right. Much like Spacey did in The Usual Suspects. But I don't think there's been a better Lex Luthor, and he's the one that I hold all the rest to. DC villains are very melodramatic in most movies, and Spacey is that, but he's also menacing. And I think that you can't hold a candle to his performance in their role. They tried to go younger in the more recent iterations, with Zuckerberg playing him, and now the Beast handling that role. But no, this is the best one. And if his career was still going, he probably could return. But his career is done for a reason.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin Spacey, talented actor, and yeah, the best Lex Luthor. Although I like Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor better, just because it surprised me. That's all. But yeah, Kevin Spacey, totally deserving on this spot.
And Nicholas Holt was a beast in that movie. No joke.
He was. All right. But you have another pick right here on your Mount Rushmore. You got Josh Brolin as Thanos.
I mean, from one actor with not a lot of hair to one with legendary flow. in the photo. A Goonie that we all know and love, to probably the one of the best villains in the MCU. Um, the one that made uh, everybody freak out, and one of the best Marvel villains. Now, did they take a lot away from the Thanos character? Did they make him a little more muted, a little less, mad titany? Maybe. But to land this with the chin that had wrinkles, like certain things, like he just disappeared into the role for me. And it set a bar. I don't know that any of the Doctor Dooms we've had up until now meet this bar. I don't know that any of the Spider-Man villains outside of Willem Dafoe, honorable mention, at least for me, hit that bar. So I think that Brolin deserves it. And he's just like, you like him, but he also can be menacing.
Yeah. Which I think is the best trait of a villain. If you can understand or even like the villain, that to me is the best type of villain. So yeah, 100% wholeheartedly endorse Josh Brolin on your Mount Rushmore. And also from my criteria, fantastic catalog of other movies that he's been in. Sicario 1 and 2, fantastic. He was great in those roles. So yeah, just a great actor, great pick, great Mount Rushmore spot for you. On mine, if you don't know, it's Bane. Yeah, you can't really understand what the hell he says, but Tom Hardy is Bane. Um, One of my picks on the Mount Rushmore because he's such a damn good actor and he commits himself to the role. And Bane, even though you couldn't necessarily understand what he was talking about, still menacing villain. And yeah, I don't care. Make fun of the voice. I thought it was a great little take on the character. And I'm down for it. But Tom Hardy in pretty much everything I always enjoy, with the exception of the Venom movies. But even then, I'll like him just because he's in it. But yeah, it's his category of being that actor that will just get like super jacked for a role. And I like that. I thought he was awesome in Warrior. He was in other movies that just has him in like interesting spots, Black Hawk Down, and he has versatility. He has the range, and now he's kind of at that phase in his career to where like he can pick and choose what he wants to do, but he's gonna pick stuff that is fun and is interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen Bronson, where he plays like that Bronson, the worst criminal ever, but it's just a weird performance by him. But it's magnetic. You can't help but watch it and just be like, holy crap, this guy is certifiably insane. And you think Tom Hardy's insane because he plays it that well. So on my Mount Rushmore, and I'm sticking to it.
No
Going on
arguments
to
here.
the next pick. Ooh, you got Jack Nicholson as the Joker on your
I
Mount
mean, you
Rushmore.
want to talk about menacing and scary. I've never seen somebody in all purple dancing to Prince that you think is going to just fucking kill everybody. Um, Without Jack Nicholson, I don't think Batman movies continue. Right? I think they're one and done. If you got anybody less to take this role and to go with it, like, he brought such a just crazy energy to it in the Tim Burton world of over the top colors and ridiculosity. I just feel like it captured the Joker that we all wanted, and every Joker since has measured up to it. um I don't
Jared Leto.
think
You're a fan of Jared Leto, huh?
I'm not a fan. No, I'm saying they have been measured against it. How about that?
Ah, okay, gotcha. All right.
Everybody jumps on the Keith Ledger bandwagon when it comes to the Joker. I gotta go Jack for me. And Dancing with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight is some cold hearted shit to say to a motherfucker before you throw him off a bell tower. Just so cool. So cool. And he just owns the movie. Keaton does the Bruce Wayne Batman thing, but the swagger comes from Jack in the movie, and I think that's how a real Batman Joker relationship would be.
Yeah, fantastic pick, and yeah, I can't disagree at all. It's just he has that aura about him, and he's just a fantastic actor as well. So, yeah, not the biggest Batman fan, but hey, yeah, I give Jack Nicholson his flowers. But my last pick on my Mount Rushmore, uh, some may say he should have been the Joker because he has a face that looks just like it. We're talking about Willem Dafoe. He was the Green Goblin a couple times, and just a really, really great portrayal of that character. You know, like you would think that when it came to him overall as a villain, like, really? The Green Goblin? He's kind of goofy. Like, well, yeah, he is pretty goofy, but at the same time, super menacing. And that's where Willem Dafoe plays it expertly. And once again, his just resume of all the different movies he's been in, all very strange, for the most part, but still, just like he knocks it out of the park for every freaking role. He was great in Aquaman, for God's sake. Aquaman. And he was still a solid, solid actor in it. So I don't know. When you have as much of a career as he's had, and when you get to play a lot of villains, and he's played a lot of protagonists as well, but some of my favorite ones are Green Goblin and, of course, Agent Paul Smecker from the Boondock Saints. And who can forget him as just the wonderful agent, special FBI agent Paul Smecker.
That's such a
Fantastic.
weird fucking
But
movie.
it's
The
such a
fact
great
that he can
role.
come
Great
back,
role.
yeah, the fact that he came back as the Green Goblin so much later and still brought depth to it in a completely different way, right? The Sam Raimi over the top directing, trying to squeeze as much out of Willem Dafoe as he did, and then the more subtle but still memorable, still in the same vein performance. Uh, um, just great.
Still a freaking psycho. Like his face when Tom Holland was like punching him and elbowing in the face, and he just looks up with that devilish grin. He's just like, yeah, come on, give me more. Like that is so damn powerful. And I love that scene. It still gives me chills to this day. And yeah, great movie, great portrayal, great actor. Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, my Mount Rushmore. But yeah, I mean, that is pretty much it for me overall when it comes to the episode. I mean, I can't really say much else. That's our episode.
I think that the thing that we can take from the actors that we picked and the time frames at which they all came into their roles is that we keep getting stronger and stronger actors to jump into superhero movies. And it keeps making those movies better and better and better. And the potential for those movies to get better and better continues as the greats take the roles. Let's keep it going.
Recognize the greats. We'll continue to get great movies. And hopefully we'll get more and more of those superhero movies with those excellent supervillains. But until next time, I'm Dan the Part-Time Avenger. That's Mark the Resident Jedi.
Don't forget, like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of our villains list. Let us know who we missed. Any Paul Giamatti fans out there really upset we didn't put the Rhino on the list? You should not like or subscribe if that's you. But let us know in the comments. You never know. Dan will say something mean to you, I'm sure. He'll quote Sideways if he's ever even seen that movie. But at I Can Do This All Day podcast on all of the socials, let us know who are your favorite villains.
We will see you next time, everyone.